Hi there, I'm Nadia Beukes and I am a mother of the young Davey de Villiers. I am an actress, a singer, a TV presenter and a voiceover artist. One of my biggest worries during the pregnancy was firstly the health of my baby. Because I'm over 35, I fall into a higher risk age, and it was quite daunting to hear that because I thought that between 35 and 40 is still a good age to have kids, but there are many risks. So for me that was very, very daunting to go to the doctor every time and to see if things are fine and if they're not. And luckily for us everything was fine and we have a perfectly healthy baby. But for me that was difficult. It was also difficult to have my body change, also because maybe it was at an older age. Having my body change and not having control of that wasn't easy, but I did exercise and I found that if I did the exercise and if I kept a healthy lifestyle, it was almost easier. Because although you do gain weight and you can gain a healthy amount of weight, it's not necessary to gain too much weight. So I tried to manage that, but that wasn't easy all the time. And also not knowing what to expect, the unexpected. I think that was also a worry, because while the baby is still inside your tummy, you kind of carry on with your life, but thinking of what it's going to be like when he's here, and me being a first-time mom not knowing anything, that was worrisome. But luckily I have a wonderful support system, my husband's amazing, and there's so much information, and I have had a wonderful gynecologist and doctor, and that support system made everything better. So looking back at it now, I think those worries were almost unnecessary, but when you're in that moment and everything is so overwhelming and there are hormones they go up and down, it's not always that easy to have the pregnancy glow and to enjoy every single moment, because sometimes you are tired and sometimes you feel nauseous and sometimes you don't know what to expect, and sometimes you cry and sometimes you laugh and sometimes you get really angry and sometimes you have to wake up at night and go to the bathroom 9 to 12 times. But then other times you sit and you are in awe of the miracle that is happening, and that you or me have the privilege to become a mom, and that overrides any worry that I had. For me, the biggest challenge after the birth of our baby was definitely sleep deprivation. I'm somebody who likes to sleep a lot, and I was used to sleeping at least 8 hours a night, and all of a sudden I'm sleeping 2 hours and then waking up, and then maybe sleeping an hour and then waking up, and that made me a little bit irritable, it made me emotional, and I didn't really know how to handle it. When I look back now, and it's only been 6 months later, I can't think that it's a problem, because now I sleep 3 or 4 hours and I wake up, and sometimes I even wake up before Davey, and I'm awake before he's awake, and I feed him and we carry on, and I'm not as tired and I'm not as irritable because I've adapted my diet and I've adapted my routine and I've adapted. And I think that's the wonderful thing about motherhood and about parenthood, is that you adapt, and the joy of having that little person in your life is so totally worth it. And also time flies. It's difficult at the beginning because you don't know, and it's a new routine and there are a lot of things happening, and then by the time you look back 6 months later, you can't even imagine that it was difficult at that stage, because it kind of all just fell into place. And I think motherly instinct is something that we shouldn't push aside. I think it's something that every one of us has, and not even specifically motherly instinct, but dads and moms, that instinct to know what your child needs. And then I think it's also important to push aside stuff like mom shaming, where other moms or people, out of the goodness of their hearts, try to give you advice and tell you what to do and how to do it. And if you don't do it that way, sometimes you feel like you're failing. But you are the person that knows your child the best, and you also know yourself the best. So you know what can work for you within your system. And with the system, I mean how you and your husband or your partner, or as a single parent, how you live your life and what works. And as long as your baby is loved, everything's going to be okay. that's the one lesson I learned. Babies need love, and we really, really love our baby. It's difficult for me to say because I really like being a parent, and it's something that my husband and I really wanted. So we're enjoying the process. We get frustrated sometimes, and with each other and with life in general. But when we look at our baby smiling, nothing seems to matter. So I wouldn't say that I have a pet peeve. Sometimes it's a little bit irritating when you've just changed a nappy and then another one appears, or while you're changing the nappy. And little boys tend to have a little fountain that sprays all over the place. So that sometimes is a little bit irritating, but all of these things are going to pass so quickly, and we've got such a little space of time where he's small. He's growing up so quickly and at such an immense pace that it doesn't bother me that much. Over the past 6 months, there have been lots of special moments, and moments that will stay in my heart forever. But there have also been funny moments, and moments where David, my husband, and I really didn't know what to do. Specifically in terms of bath time. At the beginning, Davey didn't love bath time, and he was crying a lot. Now he loves it, and we can't get him out of the water. But at the beginning, he was crying a lot, and when we were changing his nappy one time after bath time, he had his little fountain of wee that spread all over the place, and we changed the nappy. And as soon as we were busy changing the second nappy, there was another fountain, and that fountain went straight into his face and into his mouth. And I just recall my husband and I standing there with this poor baby, and he was crying, and when he sprayed himself in the face, he stopped crying for a moment and laughed, or smiled, or giggled. And I thought that was such a special moment that will probably embarrass him for the rest of his life if he ever sees this clip. But it was just life, and we laughed and we carried on, and he fell asleep, and it was a perfect little angel. And yeah, it's special moments like that stick with you. Before my husband and I had Davey, we had a discussion about how we would adapt our lives around a child, and we came to the conclusion that we don't necessarily want to adapt our lives around the child, but rather have the child be an extension of our lives and welcome him into our rhythm and into our lives, because we both are quite busy with work and with other obligations. And although now, since we have had Davey, he is definitely our first priority, it's been quite comfortable to have made him part of our lifestyle and our rhythm. And balancing work and life has been challenging, but it's not been impossible. Because we have an amazing support system, my mom, David's mom, we have a nanny that helps, we are able to plan and execute life with Davey. So instead of leaving him somewhere, we just take him along. But one thing I know for sure is I wouldn't be able to do it by myself. Sometimes David looks after Davey, sometimes my mom goes along when I have to do a shoot, or I work in entertainment, and often in entertainment there's a lot of time that goes by while filming where Davey can be there, but because we're on a location or because we're somewhere, I can't necessarily leave him at home and go from the one place to the other place, so he needs to come along. So he's been on a TV shoot, he's been on a magazine cover shoot, he's been at a sound recording for a voiceover. And the more we take him along, the more he also adapts to it, and now he just loves the music, and he's always excited about all the lights and the cameras. And when we take him to a place where there's a lot of sound, we've got noise cancelling headphones, so we also don't try to take him to push him beyond his own boundaries or make him uncomfortable in any way. And also we limit the time. So we know between 6 and 8 in the evening he needs to relax, and we have bath time and we feed him, and then he's calm. So we try to not organize anything in that time frame. But it takes a lot of planning, it takes a lot of people. I think the phrase is it takes a village. It really does. But it's not impossible. And if you want to make it work, I think you definitely can. The camping cot and co-sleeper is an absolute must-have. I take it with me everywhere. When I travel, I just fold it up and I put it in the car, and this makes Davey feel comfortable wherever, because he knows the smell, he knows the size, he knows the shape, he knows everything, he knows the textures of it. I love that you can see through the gauze on the side, so when he's sleeping next to me or he's sleeping somewhere, I don't have to go and peek into the cot. I can actually just look at him without disturbing him. I love that the side of the cot can pull down, so you can actually use it as a co-sleeper. Also during the evenings, I'm still breastfeeding. With a normal camping cot, you have to get him from, he's basically on the floor, where with this camping cot he's a bit more elevated, so taking him in and out of the bed is much easier for your back. And he loves it, he absolutely loves it. It folds up very easily, it travels very easily, and it looks very nice. It fits into our bedroom perfectly. For me, a nappy bag is an absolute go-to bag. I'm not a one thing needs to be in the nappy bag person, I'm a everything needs to be in the nappy bag person. And everybody who helps pack the nappy bag knows what needs to be in. So I've got an extra dummy, I've got Panado syrup, I've got colic calm, I've got sunblock, I've got mosquito repellent, I've got a change of clothing, hot and cold, I've got an extra blanket, extra burping cloth, nappies, obviously, it's a nappy bag. Little fragranced bags for the nappy when I'm somewhere, and then also a changing mat and toys. My biggest fear currently when it comes to my child is that something would happen to him. And I've read horrible things about people stealing babies, and it is a reality. Stuff like human trafficking and those things are absolute reality, and when I think about it I get goosebumps, just because it's horrible, and I honestly don't know what I would do if something like that were to happen to me. If I would turn around and look back and he's not in his pram, or I know they even steal babies in shopping malls. So I'm very aware of that, and that for me is something I think people should be generally aware of, that we live in a time where you can't just think that these things don't happen, they do happen. So if that were to happen to me, they would probably have to lock me up and throw away the key because I think I would go crazy. And then also health-wise, you know, if something happens to him health-wise that I can't control, that he gets hurt in any way, that for me is my biggest fear. And I try my best to look after him and to be aware of where he is, what he's doing, with whom he is. I wouldn't necessarily give him to someone that I don't know or trust. And also to just look and see that he's okay. If he has a fever, manage it. I'm a first-time mom, so I don't know everything. I'm still learning, but I am very aware of him, and that's important for me to get to know my child, so that if something's wrong, that I would know. My tip or tips for pregnant women is firstly to enjoy the season. It's something that goes by so quickly. When I think back now, there were moments that I wish I was more present, because you're worried about so many things, you forget that that moment is precious. So be present in that, and although your feet are swollen and you're hot and you're tired and you're irritated and you're hormonal, you're also in a beautiful season of your life, and everything is going to be okay. And remember that you are enough. You are, as a person, are enough to be the mom of your specific child. You were perfectly created to have this child be given to you as a gift, and enjoy that gift. And then don't eat for two. Eat when you're hungry, and by all means, you know, eat what you are craving, but don't necessarily eat for two, because afterwards it's quite a mission to to lose the weight for two.